Want to know one of the most popular topics for speaking and writing exams? Education. If you're getting ready for your September exams and if you would like to impress your teacher with some amazing advanced education vocabulary, this video is for you. Hello, my name is Monica and I'm an EOI teacher from the south of Spain, and today I want to share with you some nouns, adjectives, verbs and idioms related to education. Are you ready? Let's begin. Let's start with nouns. The first term is state versus private schools. Now, as you can imagine, a private school is a school that you have to pay. Bear in mind that I'm saying state school and not public school because in UK English or British English, the term is a little bit confusing because if you say a public school, it's actually a private school. So in order to avoid that confusion, I highly recommend using the term state school for schools that are funded by the government. The second term is the person that is in charge of a school. Now, again, we have the difference between British English and American English. In British English, they talk about the headmaster or the headmistress or the head teacher, okay? If you use the term head teacher, it's the global and neutral term. Now, if you go to American English, they prefer the term principal. The next term is pupils and students, okay? Sometimes we make the mistake of using pupil as students in general, but pay attention because pupils are only used for very young students that are only in primary school. So if you are referring to primary school students, you can use the term pupils. If it's after that, then we use the general term students. Now let's talk about some more funny words. Now, of course, if we think about education and school when we were young, probably there is a term that comes to mind, which is el típico empollón in Spanish, okay? And un empollón, or a person that studies really hard in order to pass an exam, is a SWOT. It has a little bit of a negative meaning, you know, like in Spanish, una persona empollona, okay? And the funny thing about this word is it can also be used as a verb. So you can say you can SWOT for an exam, or this person is a SWOT. Talking about funny words, there is another term that probably comes to mind, which is el típico pelota. El pelota de la clase, the person that really flatters the teacher all the time, that wants to be nice and pleasant in order to get extra points for the exam. So that person is a toady, okay, or a suck-up in American English. So a toady is the typical student that is constantly flattering the teacher and trying to be nice and be especially attentive with them. Now, what about exams? Okay, this is not something that I recommend doing. Of course, I'm a teacher, but they are always, you know, in our memories when we think about school, and those are the pieces of paper where we used to write little notes in order to pass our exams and to, you know, get the answers. Okay, so that is a cheat sheet, okay? Pay attention because it's a tricky pronunciation in the sense that we have two different sounds, very similar sounds, the cheat and the sheet, okay? A cheat sheet. And this is something funny because sometimes when my students try to express this in English, they think about the Spanish word, which is chuleta, and they translate it directly, which is a big mistake. So they think of a chuleta, they think about the meat, and they say steak. So, teacher, I use a steak in my final exams.
What?
No, you use a cheat sheet, okay? So a cheat sheet, the piece of paper where you write the answers for an exam. Now, since we are talking about words that are difficult to be translated, there is one word which is bachillerato, okay, which is sometimes hard to translate. Now, the most equivalent or the most similar way to translate that would be the A levels, okay? So if you are studying your A levels, means that you are doing the final years of your compulsory education, okay? So they are called like that. So you don't need to introduce the Spanish term when you are speaking in English. You can actually say, well, I'm studying my A levels. The same happens with the term selectividad. Selectividad, if you're a Spanish person, you would know that is the entrance examination before you go to university, okay? So how can we say this in English? You can say it's the Spanish university entrance examination. It's a little bit long, but it's the way to go. Now, when you pass your exams or when you do an exam, obviously you get a result, okay? So you can talk about your results if you're speaking in general, your grades or your marks, okay? What is the difference between grade and mark, for example? If you get a letter, for example, the American system has A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, you will get a grade. However, if you get a number, like in the Spanish system, you get a mark. Okay, so that is the difference between a grade and a mark. But however, if you say, or if you use the word result, it's basically the global word that is totally general. And the final confusing word is the degree and the career. Okay, as you know, for Spanish speakers it's very difficult because sometimes we get confused and we use the word career, because when we go to university and we study una carrera, we say that we study a career in medicine or a career in astronomics or whatever. Okay, so remember that what we study at university, that is a degree. So I am studying, or I am doing a degree in economics. Okay, but then career is more related to the professional side. So she has a very successful career, or her career is over. You are talking only about the professional field and not the years that you spend at university studying. Now let's move on to adjectives. What adjectives can we use related to education? For example, if you need to describe a class or a lesson that you are receiving, you can describe that lesson as something engaging. Okay, a lesson that is engaging, or a person that is engaging, it's a pleasant lesson, it's an interesting lesson that keeps you, paying attention until the end, and it makes you feel involved. Very similar is the term hands-on. Okay, a hands-on experience or a hands-on lesson, it's an adjective that is used to describe something that is very practical. So for example, if you have your teacher just speaking for 2 hours non-stop, that is not hands-on at all. But on the contrary, if you have a lesson where you have to do things with your hands, if you are asked to do and perform things, that will be a hands-on lesson or a hands-on activity. The final adjective for today would be mandatory or compulsory. Okay, as you know, if you have to choose some subjects, some of them are compulsory and some others are optional. So if you have compulsory or mandatory subjects, it means that you are forced to choose them and you have no option of leaving them aside. Now, time for verbs. Now, the number one verb that is also sometimes confusing is the verb to attend. Okay, when you go to class, you attend class, and we don't assist class or assist to class. In Spanish, we say asistir a clase, and that's why we have this confusing, pair of words. We say, oh, I didn't assist yesterday to class. Okay, so remember that assist is to help someone in English, all right? But if you're talking about going to class, it's simply used with the verb to attend class. And pay attention, because attend doesn't have a preposition, so we attend class and not attend to class. Now, what happens when you don't go to class or when you don't attend class? You can cut class, skip class, play truant, or play hooky in American English. Okay, all those terms, all those verbs mean the same thing when you actually don't go to class and you go somewhere else. Another verb that we use is to drop out. Okay, when you drop out of school means that you quit studying and you don't carry on studying at school. So an example would be, he dropped out of school at the age of 16. Now let's talk about exams. When you actually do a very good exam, you can use the verb to ace. Okay, this is American English and they use the expression or the verb to ace an exam. If you ace an exam means that you do a fantastic job and you get very good grades. Related to exams as well, we have the verb to cram for an exam. To cram for an exam means to study a lot of information, a lot of content in a short period of time before an exam. So you can say she's cramming for her history exam. And the final verb or the final verbs are collocations with the noun exam. So what can you do with an exam? You can actually do an exam, you can sit an exam, you can take an exam, but the one verb that we cannot use is to make an exam. Okay, so exams we do, we sit, or we take them. Now, depending on the results, you can actually pass an exam or you can fail an exam. And the final couple of verbs are to revise and to review. Now, they all mean the same. It means to study a little bit before the exam takes place, okay? To revise, to go through the contents, but pay attention because revise is for British English and review for American English. Okay, and the last section would be idioms related to education, okay? The first idiom today is to pass with flying colors. If you pass an exam with flying colors, it means that your grades are amazing and you have great success. The second idiom of the day is the teacher's pet. Now, if you are the teacher's pet, you are your teacher's favorite student. Now, this is something that it's normally communicated in an ironic or in an envious kind of way. Oh, shut up, you were always your teacher's pet. And yeah, it means your teacher's favorite student. The next idiom is to hit the books, okay? If you hit the books, you don't do it literally, but it's another way of saying that you are actually studying very hard. So if you say, okay, I cannot go to the party, I need to hit the books tonight, it means you need to study very much. And talking about studying very much, if you study the whole night, okay, with no break, you pull an all-nighter. If you pull an all-nighter, means that you stay up all night studying for an exam. There is a similar expression, but not only related to education, but also to work, which is to burn the midnight oil. If you burn the midnight oil, means that you study or that you work really late in order to achieve something. And the final idiom today is to learn something by heart. This is a beautiful expression, although the real meaning or the real fact is not that beautiful. It means when you memorize something and you don't understand it, but basically you memorize it so that you can say everything word for word in the exam. So you learn it not from memory, but you learning by heart. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know in the comment section what topics would you like me to cover in next videos, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. By doing this, you will be helping more people find us and keep on learning English in this journey. Thank you so much and take care. See you very soon. Bye.